HG lifestyle. It's a mindset. Make sure you adopt it, baby. What's going on, HG family? And guys, welcome once again to another episode of the HG Lifestyle Show. Guys, today I'm super excited because I've been trying to get our next guest on here for a while, but she's busy running her business, so we were finally able to get her. And why I'm excited, guys, is I heard her on another podcast, and literally, like, as I'm listening to it, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but as I was listening to your story, Cory, I was super hyped. Like, I wanted to go out there and just make shit happen. And so thank you for coming. First of all, and I want you to introduce yourself because I won't do you justice, girl. Like, what you've done and the shit that I heard, I was super impressed. So why don't you introduce yourself a little bit? And dude, you can get as deep as you want to get. You can hold back as much as you want to hold back. I just want the HG family to really hear your story, because if you inspired me, girl, you could inspire the shit out of a lot of people.
Thank you. My name is Cory. I'm a single mom of 3 kids. I started Gold Elite almost 3 years ago, just really to create a community where women were accepted for more than just their size in the athletic apparel world. I wanted to change the word athlete and make it say active.
Okay.
Because, like, where do you fit in as an athlete, right?
Right.
And, like, in my opinion, most moms are wearing leggings.
Yeah.
So just, like, changing that whole stigma about you have to look a certain way to be posted on an athletic page or so.
Right. But what was it that, like, brought you there in specific? Because that's, I totally understand it, but what made you think of that?
So I was overweight and I had, like, a crazy weight loss story. I was in a bad relationship. So I started working out while I was still in the relationship, and that mentally got me prepared to walk away from the relationship. And I'm like, it's me that's magic, not you. So it was almost like I had a chip on my shoulder.
Right.
And I ran with it, and it.
So it was the fitness, getting into shape, going to the gym. That's what gave you the strength to leave the bad relationship? Is that what you're saying?
Totally. Yeah. I think that everything kind of revolves around your head, like your mindset.
Right.
So, and if you're not working out, you don't feel good.
Right. I agree.
You have to move, you have to be physical. So I think that it all just kind of goes hand in hand with how you feel.
No, I agree. So with the HG lifestyle brand, we preach the HG5, and one of them above everything is fitness. Because one of the reasons why I was so attracted to your story is because I've heard your story, but I want you to tell the HG family. But as you were saying, a lot of the things that you were saying, they really hit home with me, because fitness changed my life as well. I didn't feel good about myself. I was very weak-minded. Any drug or any party, I just always said yes. And I have a pretty addictive personality, so whatever I said yes to, I would fall pretty deep in that shit. And then fitness, like, dude, it just changed a lot for me. So I can totally relate with that. I mean, tell me about the earlier years. I don't know if it's too personal, but I totally want to hear the story from the very beginning. The bad relationship. What obviously that fitness gave you the courage to leave.
Yeah.
Right. But
yeah. So I guess, like, when I was young as a teenager, I had my daughter when I was 16. So I kind of got thrown into, like, parenthood. I didn't know how not to be a mom or responsible.
Right.
But coming from a household where I was not emotionally supported, I went from one abusive relationship to the next. And then I had 2 more kids. In Utah, it's the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
To just have kids,
kids
young.
Yeah.
So there I was with 3 kids stuck in this relationship. And I was overweight because I just had these kids. So unhappy. And I had always done sales and just helped people, like, take their business to the next level.
Right.
And I just had a girlfriend sit down at dinner, and she's like, I understand, like, you're doing amazing for my business, but what are you passionate about? And it actually clicked in my head, and I was like, you're right.
Right.
So, and I started sampling. It took me 8 months to get in my samples, but I just ran with it.
8 months. See, but that's patience, though, right? Because a lot of people, they know it's going to take long, and they just choose to not get started, just at the thought alone that it's going to take so long, right? So Before all of that, though, you said you were helping others get their business to the next level?
Yep.
So, like consulting, or what did you do with that?
So no, like my friends had, for example, like a nail polish business.
Okay.
So I would help manage her, give new ideas, help her import, all the things, kind of learning the skills of business.
Okay, that's cool. Did you grow up around any business owners, anything like that, or is it just something that you naturally had?
I have a really like strict dad who taught me like about credit and about bills, but they're very middle class minded to where you go
Right.
to college, you save in your 401k. So I did have a structure in that way,
Okay.
but I guess not in an entrepreneur state of mind.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I mean, obviously, you know, you grew up, things weren't the way you wanted them to be, shitty relationships, but that's a lot of people. A lot of people go through that, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that just never get out of it.
Yeah.
So would you say, what would you recommend somebody like that for? Because that's why I wanted to have you, because there's a lot of women who listen to the show, and they ask me things that I don't know how to fucking answer, because it's a man's perspective. So as a woman's perspective, what would you kind of say to them?
I think people ask me that all the time. Like, I don't know how you do it, but to me, there's no other option, right? Like, I'm looking at my 16-year-old daughter, and I give myself so much grace because I had a 1-year-old when I was her age, and I look at her and I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
So just to look at her and to see her falling into the footsteps of me as a teen mom,
Yeah.
it made me panic, and I was like,
yeah.
I have to stop and do better because I have kids watching me now. Honestly, and it's discouraging, and there's like days where it doesn't feel like easy, and I just do one task at a time and give myself grace for that.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, really, what I really want to get into is the mentality behind Cory, right? Like, obviously your kids, that's a huge reason why you kind of chose to get out of it. But as you were going through that relationship, I mean, what was going through your mind? How long did you think about getting away before you finally said, fuck it, I've had enough?
Honestly, like, there's still stuff I'm dealing with. Like, I still have a court case that like I'm dealing with from 2017 that because of the decisions that I made. So as much as I try to like put it in the past, sometimes I still am dealing with that. I don't know. I just every single day, just one foot in front of the other, you know. Sorry, I forgot where I was going.
No, you're good. You're good.
Remind me what you said.
No, I was just kind of asking you, right, when you were in the relationship, how long did you think about getting out? Because
Oh my God.
Did it just click with you?
Well, I think when you're in an abusive relationship, that's not the state of mind. Like,
Right.
it really is, you're in survival mode.
Right.
So I thought about leaving a bunch of times,
Right.
but I didn't leave. And it's crazy for people, like even right now, it's crazy for me to look back, and me right now, I would never tolerate that. Like, not even raising your voice to me.
Right.
But it comes with growth, and because I was in an abusive home and I saw that as my pattern, felt that was what I was worth.
Right.
So I dealt with it. Even though I wanted to leave and I understood, it's like it was crippling.
Right.
So that's why fitness made me feel better.
Dude, I preach it a lot, fitness. I really, really, really do, because it's just like for you, it's been a huge game changer for me. But and sorry if I'm getting too personal, but what kept you there? Obviously you said you felt like that's what you deserve, but why would you say that? What made you feel that way?
I think that like acceptance, right? And I had kids, and I was scared to be a single mom at 25 years old with 3 kids on my own, like with no career. So just acceptance. I didn't want to be a single mom. I didn't realize that it was better for me. I tell women who are like, oh, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, it's actually easier by yourself.
Is it?
For me,
Yeah.
For me, it is easier because my kids' dad were just a headache, and it was so stressful. And now it's just, we're in the flow of things, and you know, I don't need that help because I'm not used to it.
Right.
So.
Well, that's cool, man. That's strong, and I think that a lot of people could benefit from having the courage, like you had the courage. But tell me how it happened, because I'm sure you didn't just go to the gym one day and say, "Holy shit, I got the courage. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here now."
I didn't even know I was fat, and my husband and I got in a fight, and he called me a fat bitch.
Damn.
And I was literally, sorry, I cuss on your podcast. Okay.
Go ahead, you're good. You're good.
I was like, I went in the mirror, and I had never been overweight. I'd always had a pretty nice body. And I was like, am I fat? Like, I really was, because even when I'm like overweight, my body's still pretty shapely.
Right.
And I get those chips on my shoulder, and I was like, never again will I let this man call me this. So it was that. It's, for me to get really motivated, I have to like get my feelings hurt or
That's
something.
good. I agree with you. I actually just recently did an episode where I talk about ego sometimes is fucking needed. Because to me, in the beginning, when I first got started in business, I was so naive. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But it was because people told me I wouldn't make it that I was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Let me show you. And that was really like the big motivator for me, was to be able to give everybody a big fat middle finger. And that's why I totally vibe with your story when I was listening to it. Fitness is something that I've always wanted to get into it. But everybody always tells me there's so many brands, like what, how are you gonna separate yourself? Did you ever go through that? Did you think of those things, or did you just say fuck it?
No, I really just said fuck it. Like, and because I truly believe that mine are the best, like,
that's good.
I made the best product before I released it. It took me a long time and a lot of money to get my product perfect. So I believe in it and I stand by it. And I just keep getting, my product just keeps getting better, you know, because I listen to the feedback of people.
That's cool. Yeah, that's
and
good.
I adjust based on their, like, we're making a line for people in wheelchairs, all sorts of
Really?
things. So it's so cool to take that athletic,
Right.
you know, and make it more than athletic and make it active.
That's cool, because I can see what you're saying there, because there's people who maybe they don't feel athletic, they don't feel like they look athletic, so maybe they would stay away.
Yeah.
But you're kind of building a community for them to say, hey, this shit's for you too. But you said you spent a lot of money. How did you start with that money? Because there's a lot of people out there that I try to tell them, just fucking go for it, and they tell me, but I don't have any fucking money. So how did you get started?
I kind of jumped in with the sharks. I got on Google and I started importing samples from China. I YouTubed videos. I'm talking like 12 hours a day. I was researching on how to import products. Now when I mentor people, I tell them to stay in the United States just because you don't want to start like that.
Right.
But no, I actually found my manufacturer on the 12th page of Google at like 2 a.m. It was like I was fine-tooth combing Google, and I found my manufacturer, and I was
on
like...
On the 12th page of
12th
Google?
page,
And what made you go with them? What was it about them that you said, I'm going to go with them?
I was researching, like, so your manufacturer's public record, so I knew if I got on one of the big names that I could find a manufacturer, their manufacturing list, but it's hidden within their documents, and I was able to find it.
Really? Really? How did you have the money to get started, though? Because that's kind of what a lot of people kind of tell me, like, hey, I don't have the money, or, you know.
So I started with about $5,000 in sampling, and I think that you really only need probably less than $1,000 to get your first sample if you're doing it correctly, not like me. I don't think you need a lot of money to get your first product, and really when you launch a product, you only want to launch a few, because if you don't sell out, you're going to sit on it.
Right.
So all those lessons that you learn when launching or starting a brand.
That's cool. See, a couple things to unpack there, because one thing that you said that really kind of hit to me is like, you didn't have any fucking clue what you were doing, but you took the time to do the fucking research. And the reason I say that with such passion is because, dude, I get really fucking frustrated when people ask me, I don't want to say a dumb question, but it's like a question that, like, dude, just fucking research that shit. Like, it's not that hard. The 12th page of fucking Google, most people don't go past the second fucking page.
Yeah.
You know, so how did you know to do that? Who taught you that?
Nobody.
Just naturally.
Nobody. I just felt like I really needed to, like, find my purpose, and when I'm dedicated, I'm 100% in.
That's cool. And so you said it's 3 years old now, and how's it doing? Like, how does it feel to be doing something that you're passionate about?
It's amazing. Like, I went to the AlphaCon 2 weeks ago, and finally I could, like, feel my progress. People, like, knew who I was. My stuff was selling. It was actually sold the best at AlphaCon. It was so cool to get treated like, you know, like it's my brand, because blood, sweat, and tears. Like, Gold Elite doesn't feel fun for me
Right.
90% of the time.
Right.
So to be out and people are like recognizing and like, oh, I love your stuff. It's so rewarding for me. Even taking pictures with me, I'm like, oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Me? Like, this is
Yeah.
so cool. I just think it's all still so cool. And I think that's kind of what keeps me going, is like feeling that community and people
Right.
saying like, I feel included within Gold Elite, and seeing my influencers connect from like California across the country, and now they're friends because, and I know it's Gold Elite. It's so rewarding for me.
That's cool. Yeah, because I watch your stuff on social media because, like I said, girl, you motivate the shit out of me to want to do even more. And so I do see all the shares and people always sharing it. And dude, I've always wanted that. That's what I want to do with the HG lifestyle, is I want to just kind of bring a community together and just, I don't know, man, because me personally, I struggled with addiction for many years. I didn't even fucking graduate high school. I mean, I grew up in the United States as an illegal immigrant the majority of my fucking life, right?
Yeah.
So based on society, guys like me, we're not supposed to build multi-million-dollar companies. But I, like you, it was the ego in me, you know, people telling me that I was a loser, that I was gonna be a fucking loser. And when I was a kid in high school, I was a pretty cocky person, but not in a good way. I was an egotistical, like, God blessed me with the mouthpiece, and in that time, my mouthpiece was just to pick up chicks, get chicks to fall for me. And I don't know what it was, but one day I'm like, dude, you're a piece of shit. You're a fucking asshole. Like, you know, so like the person I am today compared to who I was years ago, not even the same. But when people ask me how I did it, I really don't know how to answer that. I really don't. It's just one day I just didn't want to be who I was. So how would you answer that question? Because I want to learn. I want to be able to tell somebody, hey, this is how I did it. But I don't know. I don't know what changed in me, or I really don't know how to answer that question. How would you answer that question?
I don't think it's one thing. I think that you vibrate at a frequency, and it's a pattern. Every single day you have to work on reprogram yourself and put those good habits into place. You can't just wake up one day and be like, I'm going to be this way. Your subconscious is programmed from your childhood and your experiences. So you have to consciously want to improve and to be better. And I think that that's all it is. It's just your mindset.
Right.
So if you can shift that, read, listen to podcasts, make sure you're only surrounding yourself with people who are doing something positive. Because when you're around somebody negative, that is draining energetically. Even if you think they're like, oh no, I love that person, like, it is draining.
I agree, yeah.
So I think that just focusing on your mindset, trying to get healthy. When you feel sad, put on a YouTube video, like put in motivation and just play those videos. You'll get hyped right up.
Right.
Like, you have to be conscious because life is hard. So just like learning to flow instead of fight.
Right.
Because fucked up shit is going to happen.
Yeah, it is.
It just is. So I just feel like when I hear people even try to premeditate an argument or a situation, I'm like, it's not going to happen like that.
Yeah. This is what I'm going to say.
But, you know, people find comfort in that, in knowing what the conversation's going to be, even if they're pretending and making it up.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But one thing you said is about surrounding yourself with good people. Now, obviously, from what you said earlier, you had people in your circle, though, business owners, people that were trying to do more, right? At least that's what you said, right? You had people who had businesses. Did you kind of learn from them, or?
Yeah, I feel like I've always felt like I was capable of more, like I was going to do more.
Right.
So my girlfriend did have like a nail polish business, and other people that I was around had businesses, but not a brand.
Okay.
It's completely different to have a business than a brand. So that was, you know, learning the patience and consistency that you need to build a brand instead of just launch a business that can make you, because you can launch a business, make you $100,000 a year and call it good. You don't need to try to do more, and that's fine for some people.
Right. But how do you, for somebody who doesn't have friends like that, how do you get around people like that?
You have to network. Like, you have to be willing to make yourself uncomfortable. I am so, even before AlphaCon, I was sweating so bad I could have thrown up.
Really?
Yeah, I just have anxiety. Even right now, like, look, you can see my hands are glistening. Just because, you know, it's uncomfortable. things like this
Right.
make you nervous, but you just have to do them, and you get better, and you meet more people because people want to see other people win.
Right.
So when you put yourself out there, luckily for me, my community has really uplifted me. And I feel that when you like put yourself out there, that it happens. Some people don't have that experience, but
Right.
in my experience.
Well, I agree with you because see, I've told people that like, dude, just put yourself out there because I know some people who are badasses, but nobody knows who they are. They don't share anything. I'm like, dude, just put yourself out there, and they won't do it because of what if it doesn't work out for me, whatever. And like people ask me like, hey, how do you have the courage to do it? Honestly, dude, to this day, I'm not comfortable doing it. I'm still not, but the results and the things that have happened since I started putting myself out there have been life changing for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it. But how do you get over that fear, that anxiety, or because clearly you go through it, but you're still out there, you're still kicking ass, and you're here.
Yeah, I think you have to make yourself uncomfortable. And when really you get around those people, you realize how kind they are, and that you I think people that are that wealthy, and the people that in my community at least, they want to serve. When you get around other people that see the bigger picture, that it's not about the money, that you have to have money.
Right.
The worst thing that people say to me is, you need money for happiness. Or that you don't need money for happiness.
Right.
And I'm like, what? You need money to be comfortable. And if you're struggling to even get your bills paid, you can't focus on helping and impacting other people.
No, you can't. And you can't be happy that way. So I agree with you because it's pretty difficult to have good relationships, good anything, when you're fucking stressed out about money and where it's going to come from. So I totally 100% agree with you. And really, one of the reasons why I wanted you here was kind of selfish, and I'm gonna be honest with you, but I've always wanted to have a fitness brand. So when I saw you, when I heard your story, and I heard you say, fuck it, I just did it, all the research, I was like, dude, this is somebody that I would love to learn from. So what secrets could you give me, man? How do you do your marketing? How did you get the brand out there? How did you do all that? Is it all social media or?
Most of it is social media, but it is my network. I don't pay my influencers to wear my stuff because I want it to be, I haven't in my business model. Most marketing companies are like, what? But just because I want it to be authentic, because that's who I am in my truth.
Right.
If you put them on and don't like them, I don't want you to post and share, even if you keep them and I have to be out that money.
Right.
Because it's not authentic to me.
Right.
And compression leggings are not for every body.
Right.
So there is going to be women who are not comfortable having something skin tight sucking against them.
Right.
And I had to, when getting your first bad reviews, those hurt.
Right.
It's like at first it was like a personal attack, but I had to just like step back and be like, why are they leaving this? And how can I help fix this? Because they're leaving it because they want their needs. They're taking the time to leave me that. Some people are just mean.
Yeah, they are.
But most of the people, I can take their feedback and adjust my clothing. And I love that about owning my fitness brand.
Right.
Because you can adjust. So I would suggest extended sizing to include everybody. I make sure my marketing's so diverse. I think that right now, especially in Utah, there's so many beautiful white models. You really have to make a conscious effort to include diversity in your brand.
Right.
It's so important to me for my brand. So I just think, like, honestly, trying to include not everybody, because you do have a target market.
Right.
But I want people to feel like it's a community.
Right.
Like they're going to come together and get more value than just an outfit. You feel like you're a part of something when you're wearing my clothing.
Right.
Like a part of something bigger than yourself.
How did you get there, though? How did you accomplish that? Because I do see that in the posts that people make. I see that. So how did you get there, though? Like, how did you get an influencer to just wear your stuff and be willing to not be paid anything?
I'm authentic.
Right.
Like it's so simple for me. Like, hey, I love your page. Can I send you an outfit? I don't ask anything of anybody. It comes, with how I am. If I give somebody gives me something, I feel in debt to that person. So I never want to feel like that. I always want to make sure I'm providing more value than I'm getting from anybody. So
That's cool. And what made you like that? You just...
I think I had a really hard childhood where I didn't feel accepted or that I fit in. So I want somewhere where women can come and feel like they fit in and that we're not judging them.
Right.
So...
Well, we have a lot of women listeners, and I haven't had a woman on the show. And it's not that I'm sexist. I don't know. Like, honestly, like right now, when it's another guy sitting across from me, like I'm all over the place, I'm hyped, like you make me nervous. So I'm like, fuck, okay, I don't want to sound stupid here. But I wanted you on here because I see what you're doing. I see how people feel when they're wearing your shit, and that's cool. Right, and I've always been in the service-based business. I've never had a actual product to sell. And you said something about the negative reviews. That's kind of a fear of mine. Like, dude, what if I make it and people just fucking hate it, or So it's kind of held me back a little bit. So sometimes, I try to practice what I preach as much as I can, but at the end of the day, I'm also human, and I do get nervous, and I do get scared, I get anxiety, so I'm like, fuck. I'm good at service, I can provide an amazing service, but I've just never really gotten into the product side of things, so definitely some good advice. So tell me something though, what's the plan, what's the mission for Gold Elite in the future? How big do you want to take it?
So my goal, my personal goal is I really feel like it's important for me to develop a community of women entrepreneurs and bring in feminine energy into the entrepreneur space. Their entrepreneurship is masculine. It's
right.
Go.
Right.
And creativity is feminine. So I feel in those rooms, they lack such a feminine touch or even a creative side.
Right.
Everything is about numbers and strategy and lacking, not all of them, but a lot of them lack emotional intelligence.
Right.
And to me, if you put that together with their genius, their business would make so much more money just from making people feel it's a community, giving them everybody can wear leggings. It's 2022, right? There's no brand loyalty.
Right.
So even if you start a brand, your friends are still going to wear other brands and post other brands.
Right.
So I think that creating something that is bigger than the product.
Right. See, and the reason I asked that is because I've thought that when I'm kind of looking at your page or when I'm listening to your podcast, I'm like, dude, you should really go out there and build something like where you want to inspire the shit out of other women, because I'm sure you could do very, very well doing that. So that's kind of why I brought it up, because I could totally see you as I don't want to say woman empowerment, because that sounds so fucking cheesy, but somebody that just can really be there for women and get them to take action and just go out there and try to do it. So that's why I brought that up. So, but what advice can you give to the women? Because that's why I wanted you on here. I want to speak to the women because, like I said, we have a lot of women listeners, and I don't really know if my message sometimes even clicks with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in their shoes. So, but the relationship thing is something that is big on me, because I personally know a few women that are in a shitty fucking relationship right now. It's toxic as fuck. And no matter how many times I tell them, clearly I'm not in their shoes, never been in their shoes, and I never will be in their shoes. So I don't know how to give them that pull. I don't know what to say to them to get to click, and they just finally decide they're worth it. So what would you say to that poor girl out there who's in a shitty relationship? She's smart, she's beautiful, she's got what it takes, but she doesn't see it.
Yeah, I would say one day at a time, and nothing you say is going to ever make somebody's mind change or click. It's all on her time, and when she feels ready. I feel like in that masculine energy, it's so easy to click on and off, and that feminine, we hang on. It's the father of our kids or somebody we've been with, it's almost like women love the potential of men instead of the actual man, right? We love who this man is going to be and what we can see, instead of loving him for the reality and what he's putting us through in that moment. So I actually separated my ex, and I was like, this is him. And when he did bad stuff, it was literally I had two different people. So having to realize that was one person doing those things was almost devastating for me. And it sounds crazy that it was I did like disassociated his bad behavior with him, because in my eyes he wouldn't treat me like that.
Right.
There's no way. So it was like I made this alter ego to excuse it. But when people told me to leave him, it was almost like I wanted to stay more, because they were trying to push their opinions on me, and I wanted to prove that I could make it work. So when you say like, what could I say? I don't think there's anything to say. I think just being supportive, no matter how annoying it is, that because I have girlfriends too. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, every day it's a new thing, but I just love them and support them and listen to the story. And sometimes I don't even, most of the time when people are stressing about relationships, they don't want your advice. They just want you to listen.
They just want you to hear, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you can be that person, and you need to set boundaries so not everyone's pouring into you.
Right.
But for the people you do love, just listening to that person and being like, hey, I love you no matter what you're going through, and when you're ready, you're ready.
That's crazy. And you know why this is such a kind of a touchy subject for me? Because look, I've never hit a woman, I've never been an abusive man or anything, but there was a point in my life where I was that toxic part of the relationship. Mm-hmm. And kind of embarrassing to say so, but that was me. I was the one causing fights. I was the one cheating. I was the one doing all the stupid shit. Like, right now I have 4 kids. Yeah. My 4 kids, there's 3 different moms involved. And I can all say that in most of the relationships, I was the toxic one, but that took me some time to realize it. And so because of that, I don't know, because you say sometimes, you're saying there's nothing that you could say, but I know people who, if they haven't got it by now, unfortunately, I don't think they're ever gonna fucking get it. So, I mean, what? There's just no hope for those?
I mean, that's your opinion, though. You're not living their life and their experience. Right. So for you to say that right there is discouraging and disheartening, because you have been the toxic one, but you've never been the victim of abuse. Right. Every day for years, over and over. So, like, if you feel discouraged by it, think how that woman feels.
I know.
So just being supportive and able to say, hey, I support you, even though it's hard for me to, don't even say that, right? Just protect that and just listen and say, I love you. And if you don't want to listen, put up your boundaries and don't listen. But if you love that person, that type of energy is not going to be helpful.
Yeah, no, and I agree. It's just tough, because like we do what we can to stay away from negative energy, right? Because negative energy does bring me down. I'm one of those people that, like, if you bring negative energy, it brings me down a lot, not just a little bit. It's difficult for me to separate your fucking bad day with my day, right? But at the same time, I don't want to be that dick to say I don't want to fucking listen to your problems, right? So it's kind of a tough spot to be in, right? Because I want to be there for people, but at the same time, I got way too much shit going on. And one of the most difficult things for me is to get out of a bad day. I try my hardest, and I'm gonna be honest right now, I preach a lot of the shit that I preach because I know that it works, but it doesn't mean I always fucking follow it. Sometimes it's tough, right? Sometimes I have a bad day, and it takes me some time to get through it. So that's kind of why I brought it up, just because sometimes I want to be there for everybody, but at the same time, like, fuck, there's only so much negative shit that I could take.
Yeah, you know? If your cup isn't full, you can't pour into others.
Right.
So if you're hearing that many people's problems, maybe you need to set some boundaries for yourself. Yeah. And only choose a few friends who you actually have those conversations with.
See, and you're right about that, because I guess what kind of happened with me is, success wasn't even supposed to happen in my life. And I'm not even where I want to be yet. But where I even was, it wasn't supposed to happen for somebody like me. So when it started happening, all those friends of mine, I wanted to bring them along, right? I wanted to share that with them. And every single one of them fucked me. They literally fucked me. And to me, the money hurts, but it's like, more than the money is the fact that, like, dude, had you just been a little bit more loyal to me, dude, you would have came up with me. I'll fucking take care of you. So why steal $1,000 from me? Like, just makes no fucking sense because I lost respect for you. So 2021 was a year of a lot of losses financially and friends because I'm that person that wants to bring everybody on the ride with me. I don't know how to separate myself from that. And I still struggle with that today. So how do you deal with shit like that?
I don't think you should separate. I think that that's your character and we're moving up. So if there's people around us that we can bring up, let's bring them up.
Right. Yeah. I
And
agree.
if those shady people fuck us over, I mean, we've been through enough that we can deal with that and it hurts, but we've gone through things that hurt so much worse. And at least we know now before they can really affect us. Because I've lost my friends too. I think it's really hard in your peer group when we come from a spot that people aren't succeeding,
Right.
to see one person succeed.
Right.
And it's almost like a jealousy thing. Even subconsciously, they can't be happy because it's not them.
Right. See, and I agree. And the reason I'm saying this is because I've had people talk shit to me. Like, John, you're so fucking dumb. Like, dude, you know this guy's only gonna fucking steal from you. Like, oh, you better not let him borrow that fucking money. You know what's gonna happen. But I do it over and over and over and over again. And what I try to tell those people talking shit to me is like, look, what you don't understand is if they fuck me, they fuck me. But me, I sleep well at night because I know I did the right thing. Right? And they don't get that. But at the same time, I do know that eventually I have to get out of that because I would say one of my biggest weaknesses in business is that I care too much. And I'm not that tough guy that's like, hey, your numbers are down. You're not, I don't know how to do that. So I'm like, you know, because not that I don't want to have the tough conversation, because I'll have the fucking tough conversation. I'm just more like, hey, I don't want you to feel like I don't appreciate you or whatever. But I avoid those tough conversations. And so that's my weakness as a business owner is I lose a ton of money because I don't call someone out on their shit or, hey, you're not performing well and shit like that. That's my weakness.
Maybe you should get like an assistant that you can have that open conversation with, that they can call them and check them on it. Because I agree, there's been times where I have to follow up because somebody didn't make the content they were supposed to, and it's a reflection of you, right? Because you're the business, and you did it, and you knew that person wasn't reliable.
Right.
But if you have that first touch point before getting to you, it's like a buffer.
Right.
So that's what I would do. I would just try to filter that, but I don't think there's such a thing as being like overly nice or, you know, the universe is watching. Just because you feel in your heart that person didn't appreciate it, like, I just, like the universe, I just feel like this big jar and you put coins in your good karma and it really will get rewarded back to you. Maybe not now, maybe your feelings were hurt, but I truly believe it's a frequency. So if you're radiating that, you're going to get that back.
Okay, see, and I'm glad you said that because I don't think anybody's really... Most people around me are like, dude, you're so dumb, dude. Like, why do you keep doing it, right? But I do
I'm
keep
the
doing
dumb one
it.
too.
Yeah.
I replace people's leggings after like a year.
Really?
They'll be like, there's a hole in them, and the order is like a year old. But I'm like, okay, because I would rather have them wear my leggings and like be a part of my community. But no, customer service is crazy.
Yeah.
People treat you like they're behind the computer so they can talk anyway.
Yeah. See, well, I'm glad that somebody agrees with me on that because, I mean, at the end of the day, look, if I could have all the money that I've loaned out and given away and like all this shit, dude, like when I have tough months, I'm like, dude, if I could get even a quarter of that fucking money back, I'd have so much money for marketing, for leads, for this.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it does get to me because I'm like, dude, like you're not a very smart business person. Right? Because that's not a smart business decision to just give away $5,000, to just give away that shit. That's not a smart business decision.
Yeah.
But it's tough for me to say no. I don't know how to say no. I literally say yes to fucking everything, and that's my downfall.
Sounds like you need a touch point in between you and that person asking for money. You need that buffer.
Yeah, and I've tried to separate myself. Like I've told people like, hey, from now on, like, hey, I'm gonna eventually separate myself. I'm gonna just focus on the content, cause dude, I didn't realize that this whole content creating and all this shit was fucking. It's almost full time. Yeah, it's a lot. And so I've wanted to separate myself from the day-to-day operations, but you know our numbers struggle, and then I feel like, well, fuck, maybe if I'm not paying attention, they're not doing their. I don't know, right? I'm hoping that somebody will eventually step up. Because, dude, I'm the kind of guy like, hey, if you make my life easier, dude, I will so fucking reward the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Right? If I know that I can rely on you and you're doing your thing, like, dude, I'd probably make everybody a partner if I could. Because that's just how I am. Like, if I win, you should win too, especially if you've been with me from the beginning. But yeah, just thought I wanted to hear kind of your opinions on that. But any other advice you want to give to strong, beautiful women out there who should be winning? They deserve to win. What would you say?
Honestly, I feel like there's so much pressure to, like you said, leave the relationship or do that. But I think it's just waking up and listening to your body. Like, if you need to rest and only do one thing, it's okay. You need to rest. We don't always need to hustle and to fight each other and compete. Like, it's not about that. If you're not happy building your business, you're not going to be happy once you have the business.
Right.
And I think that just doing it one foot over the other every single day when you don't want to, and resting when you need to. So
cool. That's awesome. What about like routines? What are your routines like?
My routine's pretty strict. I'm pretty boring.
Really?
I wake up at 5 a.m. I meditate. I journal. I do the Miracle Morning.
What is that?
From like Hellrod or something like that. I watched it on Amazon. I read the book. So you like wake up, meditate, journal, all the things, exercise for 5 minutes, and it just like sets up your morning to have a good state of mind. You don't do social media for like 30 minutes.
Right.
And then I go to the gym. I make sure I go to the gym.
So morning time is your gym time?
My kids like to go rock climbing. So if their rock climbing wall is open, I go at night.
Okay. At Lifetime Fitness or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, that's the only gym that has a rock climbing.
Yep.
It's been closed for so long though. Did they finally open it?
So they open it like 4 nights a week for like 4 hours. So I can go take my kids to the childcare, and then they take them rock climbing while I work out.
Really? Mm-hmm. But it's not open in the mornings then, right?
No.
Yeah, that's probably why I don't see it then.
Yeah.
Because, I go there and play basketball a lot.
Yeah, rock climbing is intense.
Is it?
Yeah. Like twice up the wall, my whole back was on fire.
Really?
Yeah,
So
it's
a good
hard.
workout? Recommend it?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. But fitness then, so you would recommend, like, what's your thing about fitness? Because there's a lot of people out there who just never worked out before, so they're like, I feel kind of dumb, right? So what kind of workouts would you recommend for them to do? Because clearly you take care of yourself, and it's done wonders for you mentally.
I only do exercising that I like. Like, there's no way I'm going to run. There's no way. Like, my boobs are too heavy. It's not comfortable. It hurts my knees, right? So I do the stairs for like half the time. Or I would never put myself in like a high fitness class. Not my jam.
Right.
And so I would put myself in a boxing class, just doing something that you like. Because
Right.
if you don't like it, exercising sucks. It's never going to get easier.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to exercise.
Right.
Nobody. It doesn't feel good for any of us.
Right.
So just doing something that you like, and if something feels uncomfortable, don't do it.
Right. Well, beautiful. Well, Cory, I would like for people to go check out your stuff. Ladies out there all you ladies that listen, go check out her clothing brand. It's cool. I see people's response, and it's Gold Elite. Where can they find it?
GoldEliteApparel.com, and on Instagram it's Gold Elite too.
It's Gold Elite at Gold Elite.
It's at Gold Elite Apparel.
Okay, and how do they follow you?
It's Cory Chipp, CoryChipp.
CHIPP, no underscores, none of that shit.
Nope, it'll come right up.
Well, Cory, I want to thank you for joining the HG Lifestyle Show. I appreciate you taking the time, and I'm glad you're local, because if you don't mind, I'll probably keep bugging you when I can, because I definitely plan on launching the brand eventually if I can get the courage to do so. So, well, Cory, thanks for coming. Any final words?
Nope, you totally should launch your brand. You should have the courage. You should do it. Yeah.
Because you said it, I'm going to do it. Well, guys, thanks for listening. HG Lifestyle, as you already know, it's a mindset. Make sure you adopt it, baby. We out.